our teachers know what's going on. Can't we do something? Can we do it? I mean,
We can work on that.
And a lot of times, unfortunately, in these hard economic times, if I do a financial newsletter, you're just going to see bad news. But I mean, at least you would be informed.
I like the deal. I don't want to be shocked.
But can I say something, Craig?
Yes.
Okay, it's you know, last meeting, this was just bam. I mean, you know, this was just presented, and I think you made a call tomorrow. You'll find out my feelings on this after the rethinking it. And I appreciate, you know, Michael Martin for, you know, he called and apologized, and I'm trying to stick myself in his shoes. If I lose money, I'd be mad too. And I've worked on the other end of the collective wage, you know, bargaining agreement, and I know that it's, you know, when you count on things, you count on it. And as far as my concerns, I feel better. You know, I try to justify it by saying, well, you know, I know a lot of miners out of work. I know a lot of guys that, I mean, they would love to have their, given the option of being laid off or having their salaries froze, they would have chosen, you know, yeah, go ahead and freeze mine. But my thing is, you know, I have to revert back to what I know is correct, and what I know is, you know, correct from a scriptural standpoint. And you pay people when you owe them. I mean, that's it. We owe you to pay. Now, if we had exhausted every resource here at the school district, have we cut every ounce of spending that we could cut? Have we done all these things? And I'm convinced we haven't done that. You know, we haven't done that. And I don't want to balance, you know, the budget or, you know, cut on the back of people who work in the trenches. Teachers, classified employees, whatever. I think they should get what they're doing. I've had a change in heart. If you owe somebody, you pay. It's that simple. It's that simple. You can't, you know, you can let, well, lawfully we can do this, you know, lawfully you might be able to do it. Lawfully you might be able to freeze. But is that the right thing to do? I mean, do you want to look for an out? I don't. I will be honest with that board, and I want classified and teachers to get what's due them. All employees. And then it becomes our responsibility to make sure that we can meet those obligations. The board hasn't done it in the past. We haven't looked at, and you know, we have just bam. I mean, I've been here since January. You have these things just come at you, and you have to come up with solutions. And it's tough when you look and you don't have the money. I've made remarks to, you know, Tammy. I think I talked to you, Michael. Is that, you know, correct? You in funding that you get. Well, for school supplies and stuff like that, right?
The last 2 years that we're talking
Huh?
about. The last 2 years that we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And it's been cut.
Instructional supply.
It's been cut.
The last 2 years.
You know, severely. And you know, I found out today, you know, it's an educational process to me, that the board allocates that money. I mean, there's a statute, I think it's 702 KRS, well, I've got it written down here, and I call it my employed county. I wanted to restrict those funds. In other words, the board gives you the money, and the site-based council, you know, you get, what, $100 per student, is to restrict those funds so that you all get them. We can't restrict the funds. You're all supposed to get them anyway. I mean, you're supposed to get a minimum of $100 per student. And the school district can't, the only way that they can do that, the only way that they can take that money back is if they face a deficit. And that should be like a one-year thing. It's an emergency thing, you know, we can do it. We've done it every year. I mean, every year we're so much in the red, we've got to take that money back, and that's not right. I mean, that's money that directly benefits the kids. So those are things that I'm looking into. Those are things that I'll turn into the state auditor. I mean, you know, hey, if it's a one-time deal, you look and you can't pay this stuff, I can understand. $100 per student, you're going to pull this stuff out, you've got to pull this money back because you can't go in the red. But when it's done year after year after year, then it's wrong. It's a practice that shouldn't exist. That's all I'm gonna say. And it's, you know, I want to give you what you owe. It's the right thing to do. And if it, you know, if it means the state coming in here, then so be it. You know, my thing is you live up to your obligations. I do it at the house. If I owe somebody, I pay them. And you know, the Bible says when it's in your power to do that, then you need to do it. And I realize I may not speak for the majority, but
I think you made some good comments, Gary.
huh?
I think you made some really good comments.
I mean, you have to pay.
And I think everybody wants that. It's a matter of we're upside down in funding, trying to figure out how we can do it. So that was kind of the purpose behind the freeze, was to hold, let's take a look at that and see what we can do.
And I wasn't aware that the freeze, and this is probably my fault, 2.5 years, but like I said, I've been kept in the dark a lot. I didn't realize, when they said 1%, I thought it was 1%. I didn't know there was a rank or whatever until, you know, I received an email saying that the rank wouldn't be, you know, it wouldn't be effective. At the time, I just thought it was a 1%, you know, and then we were even told that if funds came available, that, you know, it would be revisited. And there were people here at that board meeting that I even asked before I voted, you know, on some of it. And so, I mean, it might be our mistake on that part too, because I didn't know.
You know, you're talking about if you're mine and you'd be grateful to have your job. I'm $55,000 in debt for student loans. I'm finishing my rank one this summer. I'm taking 4 classes. I have 3 children, one who was just graduated, going to college. A 3-year-old who I can't get into Head Start because we're over the income, so I pay $440 a month for daycare. On top of $300 that I have to start paying when school starts back. And I was counting on my raise to pay my loan. You know, it's not going to be extra income, it's going to pay my student loan. But I got my rank 1 in reading and writing endorsement, help my class, so much better prepared as I get older. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be out $700 a month for daycare and student loan, and I only bring home $1,300 a month. You know, bring home pay. I'm really worried. You know, how am I going to pay my bills? I understand trying to pay these bills, but, you know, I have 3 children. I have to look out for my family too, and how am I going to pay my bills? You know, that's my responsibility, and I'm going to have to pay it. If I have to take out a second job, and I even asked about the janitor job, I've got to do something.
Well, from my standpoint, you deserve that.
Thank you.
And we ought to, you know, the board ought to take it either. We ought to find the money someplace. I mean, if it's cutting cell phones and all the other stuff, if it's cutting things from central office, then we cut it. I mean, that's, you know, that's it. Huh?
Just don't cut from the children. Because my
No,
daughter
don't cut the
visited,
kids.
a school last year where there was no tissue paper in the bathroom. That's sad. You know?
Occupational tax that's in Martin County, will this district receive any of that? Oh,
No, it's county.
County funding. Okay. Well, I think, you know, what this board is saying is that this is an issue that we want to reissue and look at. It's not on the agenda to do an action tonight, and we can look at it next month.
Well, I do want to make a motion.
Well, I talked to.
Well, no, it is. At next meeting, I just.
Next meeting, yeah. It's
Yeah,
not on the
but I
agenda.
want to vote to rescind that.
So you're going to say, I've received 75 phone calls. So
Well, no, I'm not going to say that I've received 75 phone calls. After considering it, it's the
So
right thing to
when
do.
they call me back or email me or whatever, I can assure them they're going to get their rate changed and they're going to get their experience increase.
You can say that I will vote to do that. I don't speak for the whole board. I mean, I will vote to
We will
rescind my vote.
revisit the issue at the next meeting.
Well, that's what we said last time, we would revisit it.
Yeah.
Of course, the rate changes scale. You can't touch that. It's covered on the county.
It's just the experience.
No, the only one you can't do is the experience.
In the contract discussed that, and
Hold up just a second. The contract between the teachers and you, again, goes back to 24.1. If there is any changes in salary, we should have done that in April.
What was the date?
And the superintendent should have made you aware of that.
Is that what it is?
like
Before
10 or
April.
15 days after the first board meeting in April.
10 to 15 days.
Superintendent should have made you aware of that.
I think part of that too, Tom, was we didn't realize